Hey, welcome back to another episode of Life After Divorce. I am your host, Chris, and this is actually episode 7. So today we're going to talk about the million-dollar question, how and when to start dating post-divorce. Had this conversation and question come up a lot, and there's really not a right time or a wrong time to start dating, but a couple of things that you want to keep in mind when dating. Number one, I'm going to give you a disclaimer. Don't try to bang every person you meet, okay? You may have some wild oats that you want to sow. You may have not had a lot of a physical relationship in the ending of your marriage, but don't try to just bang every person you meet, because from folks that I've talked with that have gone through this, and they've told me, and the story is the same from every single person I've talked to. It's a temporary high. It's not fulfilling. It's great for a couple of minutes, and then you're still alone. You're back to being by yourself again. You don't really gain a lot out of it. So do yourself a favor. Number one, don't try to bang every person you meet. But when you're trying to get back into the world of dating, coming out of a divorce, your pride is bruised. You probably are lacking some self-confidence because, again, your world is flipped upside down. You're probably having some thoughts of, if you have children, I've got baggage now. Who wants to put up with me? Who wants to deal with somebody that's gone through a divorce? Like, you just fill your brain with all this head trash. Number one, that's normal, okay? That is normal to have all of those thoughts. However, there are tens of thousands of people that have gone through or are going through the exact same thing that you're going through. You're not alone, and that's the whole point and purpose of me doing these episodes, is that you're not alone in going through this. You're not the only one having these thoughts. You're not the only one having these experiences. So the resolution to this is go date. Go date a lot of people. Go on several different dates with several different people. That doesn't make you, a bad person. It doesn't make you, a floozy or a male whore or a female whore, like whatever. That's not what this is about. Because we're not banging every person we meet. What you're doing is, when you're going out on different dates, you're learning more about you, number one, and what you like and what you're attracted to, what you don't like, what you're not looking for. But you're also learning about things that, what you are looking for, and you're learning about things that, I really like, that type of personality, or I really don't like that type of personality. You may have come up with a list, and don't act like you haven't. We've all been there. You may have come up with a list of all the things that you want in a perfect mate. That's cute, but right now when we start dating, we're not spouse shopping right now, okay? We're simply going out to learn more about us and more about what is out there in the world right now versus what it was 10, 15, 20 years ago when we were last looking for a mate, okay? Here's what I mean by that. Back when we were in college or in our 20s, before we got married, there was very little social media. Facebook was a brand new thing. MySpace was out there, but there was no smartphone. There was no dating apps. There was, next to no social media. None of us had kids. I don't know, probably very few of us owned a home at the time. None of us were really established in anything and really involved in our local community. Now, fast forward 10, 15, 20 years, all of that is different. It's a much different world. It's also a little more complicated for us because of coming out of divorce, especially if we have children. But it doesn't make it impossible. It just means we get to go about it a little differently. Here's what I mean. You've made your cute list, and yes, I'm going to refer to that as a cute list, of 58 items that I have to have in my next spouse or in the perfect mate or whatever it is. Okay, that's fine that you've made that list. However, if it's 58 items long, how many of those 58 do you actually achieve yourself? Like, if I'm not even hitting all 58 items, why would I expect my significant other to be able to achieve all 58 of those items? So it's not about my next spouse has to achieve all 58 of these items. I get to decide, what are some of the non-negotiable things that I really, really need in a mate? Is it about their faith? Is it about their personality? Is it about the way that they treat my children? Is it about how they are as a parent? Like, you get to decide those types of things. It doesn't need to be 58 items long, though. Because guess what? If you have to wait and find somebody to achieve all 58 items, you're going to live a long, boring life by yourself, because that person doesn't exist. There is no perfect adult, okay? You're not perfect either. So you get to decide, like, what's important to me now? What kind of person am I now? You know, what do I like now? Maybe way different than what it was when you were in your college years or in your 20s, because you're not the same person you were back then. Okay? And let me cover in your 30s and into your early 40s, I'll say, what the gamut of the dating world looks like. This is for men and women both. This is not a guy to guy talk. This is an adult to adult conversation, okay? Here's the gamut. You have on one end men and women that either have been divorced and never had children, or have not been married and have never had children. They want to make kids. That's really, really important to them, and the biological clock is ticking. And that's one of their biggest priorities. Okay? So where do you fit on that topic, number one? Then on the other side of the spectrum, you have people that have been married, obviously, have children, now divorced, maybe divorced for 3, 4, 10 years, don't know. Everybody's different. And that's fine, but their children are involved in extracurricular activities at school. They're involved in their community. They're very established. They now either have bought a home or already had a home and are really established. We'll call them established. So we got established to wanting to make a family. Like, that's the spectrum. You get to decide, where do I fit in that spectrum? How flexible am I going to be on this end, and how flexible am I on this end? Those people can't answer it for you. You have to answer that. But I will tell you this. If you're going to make all the accommodations and be all the flexibility for this person, or you're going to be all the flexibility and make all the accommodations for this person, and they're neither one budging, and they're neither one willing to work with you, and I'm not talking about just like, are you willing to have children? I'm saying, if you're the one accommodating all of the scheduling and all of the situations, and it's all about your accommodations, and they're not willing to work with you, is that happiness for you? You have to decide that, okay? Like, again, this is about you, not me and your situation versus my situation. But I'm telling you, this is the spectrum you're going to be in. Whether you're in your 30s or early 40s, this is what you're working with. And again, both sexes. That's not a male to female thing. When you're dating with children, your schedule with your children is pretty much established. Like, you know what that routine looks like. Your time with your kids is your time with your kids. Do not negotiate that. Do not try to accommodate your children for your dating life, okay? Your dating life is for when your children are not there. So when your kids are there, you're in the moment with your children, you're taking care of your kids. When your kids are not there and they go to their other parent's house, now is when your dating life gets to happen. Don't sacrifice time with your kids to try to make a dating life. That's not a thing. So, again, some juggling act, because now you're working within some boundaries of your schedule. If you're dating somebody with children, they've got their own schedule. How much of these schedules do we overlap? Likewise, if you're dating somebody without children, they got to be willing to understand, I have a set established schedule with my children. Like, that doesn't jive, that doesn't shift. So these are things to think about. Yes, it sounds complicated. Yes, it sounds like it's a little different. It's a lot different. Doesn't make it impossible. It's just different. Okay? So, you may go out and whether it's your list that you have, and you go out with somebody. Let's say I want to be with somebody that's sarcastic because I'm sarcastic and that's what I want to be with. And you go out with that person and you're like, I can't stand somebody that's that sarcastic all the time. That's not what I'm looking for. That's the point of this dating thing, is to figure out what it is you're looking for. What kind of baggage can I handle? For example, another good example, guys, can you take the baggage of a female with 3 children by 3 different fathers? Girls, can you take on the baggage of a male with 3 children with 3 different mothers? These are things we get to think about. These are just examples, but these are things we get to decide and think about. What are they part of my non-negotiables? Is it, I can be okay with that. I can't answer that for you. That's a you thing. We all get to deal with that. We all get to figure that out. So the takeaway from dating is go have fun with it. Enjoy it. This is a season in your life. It's not how the rest of your life is going to go, but go enjoy it and have some fun. Fun is probably the best F word I can put in there for you. But go have some fun with it and learn. Again, you're getting to learn by each date things about you, things about the opposite sex or the person that or type of person you're trying to work with. It's a learning experience. So go have fun with it. Enjoy some time exploring yourself and exploring with others. My email is here at the bottom. Please email me. I appreciate all the feedback if you have questions or feedback. In the meantime, have yourself a blessed day and a joy-filled life. Take care.